So you want to main Miss Fortune, the bounty hunter. Well, you've come to the right place. Hi champions! In this video, we'll be going through Wild Rift's Miss Fortune in depth. We'll be going through Miss Fortune's abilities and leveling order, spells, combos, builds, runes, counters, and general combat tips. And if you have any of your own Miss Fortune tips, please share them in the comments down below. First, ask yourself, why do you want to main Miss Fortune? Miss Fortune's pros: she can harass enemies pretty well. She can deal massive damage and good burst. She has an area of effect slow, meaning she can slow multiple enemies at once. Great in teamfights as she has a lot of abilities that affect multiple enemies. Miss Fortune's cons: she has low mobility and is super squishy. She's pretty mana hungry early game. She has no hard crowd control, and her ultimate relies on good positioning and timing. Miss Fortune has multiple roles. She is a mage marksman that can deal a little bit of magical damage, but mostly physical damage. Wild Rift considers her to be of easy difficulty, and I personally find her average. We'll be exploring Miss Fortune in the Dragon Lane. My name is Teeds. If you're new here, feel free to subscribe and click the bell for everything Wild Rift. Let's go into Miss Fortune's abilities. Miss Fortune's passive, Love Tap. When attacking an enemy, Miss Fortune deals extra bonus physical damage. Love Tap only applies once on the target, then you have to reset it by hitting another target such as an enemy champion or minion. This means to reactivate Love Tap on your intended target, you can just keep switching between two different targets. The basic rule of this passive to make it work is to just not hit the same target twice if you want the bonus damage of Love Tap. Miss Fortune's first ability, Double Up. Miss Fortune's first ability fires in a line, fires a shot that ricochets behind the first enemy hit. This deals damage. The second hit of the ricochet will critically strike the target. The second hit of the ricochet deals more damage than the first hit. On hits are applied to both targets. On hit effects means anything that reacts off your basic attacks, such as items and your passive. For example, when you ricochet the first target, it will apply Love Tap, and if the ricochet hits the second target, that target will also have Love Tap. If you want to hit the ricochet on the second enemy, it does have to be in a line. It can't just be hit from the sides or anything, so the ricochet ability only fires in a straight line. This ability has a cooldown of 6 seconds. Miss Fortune's second ability, Strut. Miss Fortune's second ability is a self buff. When activated, Miss Fortune gains movement speed and attack speed for 4 seconds. Love Tap reduces the cooldown of Strut by 2 seconds. To activate this cooldown reduction for Strut, you must first attack a different target, who is not already affected by Love Tap. This ability also has a passive. After 5 seconds of not taking damage, Miss Fortune gains movement speed. After another 5 seconds, the movement speed is increased. This is her main mobility ability used for chase and escapes. This ability also has a cooldown of 12 seconds. Miss Fortune's third ability, Make It Rain. Miss Fortune's third ability is a circle area of effect. Bullets rain down on the area for 2 seconds, dealing magical damage. Enemies will be slowed in the area by 30%. This is her main crowd control ability. This ability has a cooldown of 16 seconds. Miss Fortune's ultimate, Bullet Time. Miss Fortune's ultimate fires in a large cone, channels a barrage of bullets for 3 seconds in 12 waves. Each wave can crit. This ultimate keeps you stationary, so you cannot move while using this ultimate unless you want to cancel it. You can cancel this ultimate early by moving or using another ability. The damage of this ultimate goes through enemies, so even if there are enemies standing behind each other, the enemies behind will still take damage. This ultimate has a cooldown of 80 seconds. Next, the leveling order. For the first 5 levels, 1, 2, 3, 1, 4. Then you want to prioritize maxing out her ultimate for decreased cooldown, her first ability for increased damage and decreased cooldown, her second ability for decreased cooldown, increased attack speed and movement speed, her third ability for decreased cooldown, increased damage and slow on enemies. For spells, I recommend Flash for mobility and escapes, and Heal for sustain. Next, Miss Fortune's combos. Before we get into combos, a few pointers. Miss Fortune needs to animation cancel to maximize her damage output. Animation cancelling is basically just cancelling the useless part of the animation. As you can see here, her basic attack animation is pretty long, but with movements or abilities, you can cancel the animation and deal more damage, such as using her auto attack and then immediately sidestepping and auto attacking again. As you can see, it is cancelling the part where she puts her gun up. Miss Fortune's second ability can also be animation cancelled. This means you do not have to watch the full animations as shown here. Instead, you can just attack or move and it will cancel the animation but still use the full ability. This means you can deal more damage since you are not using time on the animation. Because of this, I recommend every time you use your third ability, use another ability or a basic attack right after. Miss Fortune's first ability can also cancel out her attack animation. I recommend using an auto attack right after you use her first ability. Her third ability has a slow, which is great to use to keep enemies in range and in her abilities. The ricochet deals extra damage to the second target. Sometimes it's best to target the frontliner or the minion to hit your intended target with the second shot. Remember that love tap only applies once to your target, then you'll have to switch targets to apply love tap again to your intended target. Try to use your basic attacks in between your combos if you're in range. It's best to have the enemies in the middle far range of your ultimate, preferably them standing in the middle so it takes longer to escape the ultimate. You do not want them positioned at the end range or run in front of you as it is easier to get out. Her second ability is situational. You can use that to chase enemies or increase your movement speed. Here are a couple of combos you can use. Auto attack 1, auto attack 3. You can also use your 3 before for the slow. And then there's 3, auto, 4. The 3 is great because it just slows them inside your ultimate. If you want to share more combos, please write them in the comments down below. Next, Miss Fortune's builds. Builds are situational and it depends on the game you're in. Builds can also change depending on the current meta. My builds are based on what players are currently building in high level ranked. I recommend reading the bonuses of these items in your item builder. Yumu's Ghost Blade for increased attack damage and ability haste, Infinity Edge for increased attack damage and critical rate, Glutinous Greaves into Glutinous Quicksilver for mobility and crowd control removal, Mortal Reminder for increased attack damage, Rapid Fire Cannon for increased critical rate and attack speed, Guardian's Angel for increased attack damage and armor. Next, Miss Fortune's runes. For her main rune, Conqueror for stacking damage, and for her secondary runes, Champion, a high risk but high damage rune. You have to be pretty confident that you will not die to use this rune, or Brutal for increased attack damage and armor penetration, or Hunter Vampirism for increased attack damage, armor pen, and vamp. Then we have Spirit Walker for health and slow resist, or Regeneration for health and mana restore. Then Mana Flow Band for mana, or Sweet 2 for more gold and health on each honey fruit. Miss Fortune's counters. Crowd control such as stuns, knockups, etc. counter Miss Fortune as she has no mobility and she's very easy to kill. Crowd control from enemies can also counter her ultimate since she has to channel it, so she is stationary. If she is crowd control, it will just cancel out her ultimate. In single fights, Miss Fortune can struggle to use her passive love tap. Bad positioning. Miss Fortune needs to be positioned well to safely use her abilities. Lastly, general and combat tips. Remember that your second ability is both your chase, escape, and buff for your attack speed. Remember to animation cancel your abilities and auto attack. Remember to use auto attacks as much as you can to maximize your damage output. Targeting your first ability on filler targets to hit your intended target if they're in the back line. This is great for poking and harassing them. Remember to use your third ability to slow enemies. You can even use it on them to help you escape so that they're slow for a period of time while you try to make a run for it. You can also use this to zone out exits/entry points from the jungle and certain areas. Position yourself well, hide behind your frontliners. You can use your first ability on targets in range to reach targets in the backline who are out of range. That is all for Miss Fortune's guide. Please let me know in the comments down below which champion you would like to main next. Subscribe and click the bell for more champion guides. I have a bunch already like Ari, Darius, Blitzcrank, and Ashe, which will be linked in the comments down below. Subscribe and click the bell for more champion guides. I'm planning to release one every day or one every 2 days. Like the video if you found this helpful. I hope to see you again for the next one. Bye!